Let's dive. The first thing we'll do is we'll dive into Limp Bizkit playing Lollapalooza down in Argentina.
Dude,
Uh, that video was shared by so many different outlets of them doing break
seriously.
stuff. I saw it on like one of the sports websites I follow, which is Barstool Sports. Like they shared it. They're like Limp Bizkit's back, you know. But I mean that those crowds down there and this video in particular, it's wild how great of a band Limp Bizkit's always been. Don't get me wrong; like they've
For sure.
always been able to make a crowd move. I did the Louder Than Life, performance. I there was a lot of to be wished for there. That was probably one of the worst Limp Bizkit shows I've ever seen. So I'm glad that they've kind of rebounded. Fred had a nice, cool new look. He had a nice, cool new look, and then the crowd absolutely ate it up, man.
Yeah, I mean, granted, I've never been to another like a festival in another country, so I can't speak of it other than just from my own perspective of seeing it on the screen. But I
Yeah,
mean, like, just to see that like wave of people as they were moving, like
right.
it's really surreal, and
Mhm.
it does make me realize that just in America we have such a different musical cultural like absorption, if you will, I guess is a really weird way to say it. But like, like when we see something, we're like, yeah, all right, that's cool. But like when you look at a place like England or Europe or Argentina, Brazil, music culture that's there is such a different kind of animal than it
Yeah.
is here. So when they feel that music, I mean, that's why I love watching like old videos of like Kiss and Ray and Rio. you
Right.
know it's like 800,000 people, just like huge waves of people. Like it's just, or when you watch like, what is it? Um,
Pantera, Metallica.
the Moscow one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking with Pantera and everything like that. Like it's just like you have a million people who are going to show up to a concert, like a million people. Like you imagine being that far away from the stage that you're still just like, I fucking made it. Like I don't know. I feel maybe jaded in my own way where I'm like in the lawn area at a concert and I'm like, what the fuck am I even doing here? Like, I get all butthurt by that sort of thing. But like when you see the way that they react in other countries, I always wish that sort of feeling would really translate here. Just those kind of cultural differences between
Yeah.
America and the rest of the world has always been really kind of a fascinating thing. But like when you see that Argentinian crowd, I mean, I don't know if they just don't get shows that often. So it's just like every show is just this monumental countrywide event or what.
This too, and I think you hit on it in there. What which was going to be my point was when a band like when like Rammstein comes to the States. I mean, they play stadiums. I mean, they're not like a
Right.
radio band. They're not on MTV all the time. They're not a band that people go out of their way to play on commercial radio and things like that. But they still
Right.
play stadiums here, and I think that's a little bit of that kind of in reverse of us because we get so many shows and we get so many bands coming through town. I mean, a lot of bands are from here, so when like a band like Rammstein comes to the States, people freak out like, oh shit, Rammstein's in town.
Right.
Kind of the same thing with Argentina. There's not a ton of tours, I'm assuming, that hit Argentina. So if Limp Bizkit's coming through town, I mean, I don't know how many times Limp Bizkit's played Argentina. Probably not many.
Right.
To where I've seen Limp Bizkit probably 10 times in my life. I
Right.
don't know how the typical Argentinian has seen them. So if it's your once in a lifetime chance, I'm probably going to get into it a little bit more than my
And if
10th time
right.
seeing.
Right. Done if
Seeing
they're
them.
playing your area, right, 4 times in a year.
Right.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of it. And not only that, like it's not like they're like, I mean, unfortunately I can't think of any Argentina, what Buenos Aires, I guess, is in Argentina, but it's like, okay, like that's the only city I can name. It's like it's just so it's like, is this just like the one show they're playing in this entire country? Because I mean, could
Right.
you imagine if it was like, okay, cool, Rammstein is playing one show
Yeah.
right in the dead middle of the Midwest, like
Yeah. The one
whatever,
Chicago
Omaha,
show. Or something.
Nebraska or some shit like that. Like how many people would just like flock to get to that one particular show? And like you said, if they're going to play that one show, like people are going to go off more than if they were just going to play a handful of shows or a whole tour or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So I think they combined with that, like kind of the rarity of probably how often they get shows and distance and the culture and all that. I think it all just feeds really
Yeah.
into that. I think there's very rarely have I ever seen an audience kind of. I mean, it was full on into it. It wasn't even like one of those like, hey, we're shooting a music video, so
Right.
everybody go crazy. Like this was organic
Yeah.
energy just coming from that crowd. Like, I mean, to be
Well,
on stage would have. I'm sure they were probably just like, "Holy shit, dude!"
I when I first saw this Limp Bizkit thing, I retweeted it and it was just like, if I would never play the States. Like give me that every day of my life. Um
Well,
I
I
mean,
mean,
like even when the Pantera shows started coming up, I mean, some of their first shows were down there in
yeah,
like
but
Peru
Mexico.
and whatnot, and I mean, those crowds were wild, and
Right.
I think it made for that was probably the perfect place to kind of start something like that back up because it was a great thing to see on stage, and then the crowd was obviously great. So I mean, when it comes to the States, you're just like, hell yeah, let's do this.